Hello, and welcome. Welcome to 3 tips to improve your reeds without your reed knife. Now, we all know that having a great reed makes a big difference to playing the oboe. Many oboe players think that in order to play play the instrument better, that they need to improve their knife skills. And yes, improving your knife skills will make you a better reed maker. But that may not necessarily mean that your reeds will improve. That is what this training is about, is ways that you can improve your reeds without your reed knife. My name is Erin Brophy. I am the principal oboe player of the Saskatoon Symphony and a sessional lecturer at the University of Saskatchewan. Thank you for joining me today. The reason I'm doing these live presentations has a lot to do with my beginnings on the oboe. I'm from a very remote place in Canada, in Northern Ontario, a place, if I could paint you a picture, that is full of rocks and trees and beautiful lakes, not a lot of people, very, very much in the wilderness. And it was a wonderful place to be a kid, and I loved living there. Until I started to play the oboe. My public school offered music, and I had an oboe sent from very far away to try to learn it for my music class. And I fell in love with the instrument. And that's where all the trouble started, because I really enjoyed playing the oboe, but I had no idea how to get any better. I could recognize that I didn't sound like an oboe player should sound based upon recordings, but I had no idea how to make any changes. I didn't have access to good information. I did not have access to functioning reeds. I did not have access to a functioning instrument. And it was really frustrating. I had no idea how to improve. And there were many times when I almost gave up. Now, if you fast forward like 35 years, I feel very grateful that I make my living performing and teaching the oboe. I love doing it. But I reflect on my journey of self-discovery on the instrument, and I think, it did not have to be that difficult. It did not have to be that frustrating. There were many times when I almost gave up, and I just think we have this resource, this amazing resource, the internet, and it's possible to get good information out there. And so that's why I'm doing these presentations. It's also why I created a program called the Oboe Path, which is my favorite. It is a program that uses a group online masterclass, a personalized, customized plan, and laser feedback to enable an oboist to play with joy and ease. The Oboe Path has broken down the steps to improving on the oboe. With the online group masterclass, an oboist joins a community of like-minded oboe players that are all trying to improve, and that helps an oboist stay accountable and motivated to practice. Through the laser feedback, an oboe player is able to practice with clarity and sees the results immediately. Through the personalized, customized plan, an oboe player comes to their practice time and is able to practice efficiently and effectively. And for that reason, oboe is able to fit into their busy lives. It's a wonderful program. Like I say, it's my favorite. So let's get to today's content. Today, we're talking about 3 tips to improve your reeds without your reed knife. Now, this comes with some hard truths, and here they are. Sometimes when you don't play as beautifully as you'd like, it's not the reed's fault. And that's a really hard thing to accept as an oboe player. We have these reeds, and we all know what it's like to play on a subpar reed. We know that experience. So it's very easy to blame our ineptitudes, our weaknesses on the instrument, on the reed. It's really easy to do that. There's, other instruments don't have this double reed to blame. And it's much more difficult and I think a more difficult journey to accept that there are things about how we're approaching the instrument that actually might be the reason why we are missing low attacks, or we're not able to tongue with rapidity, or the high notes aren't coming out in the intonation that we had hoped. that there are things about how we are approaching the instrument that are actually interfering perhaps with this reed being able to play at its best. So what I wanted to offer you today is 3 tips that will help you perhaps recognize that you have really great reeds in your reed case. There are things you can do in your playing and how you approach the instrument that is going to give you more consistency, because our reeds are inconsistent. And so if you can build flexibility, consistent flexibility into your oboe playing, that is going to allow you to have better reeds in your case. What it means is you're just playing better. So building that flexibility into your oboe playing is a way to ride the wave of the inconsistency of our reeds. Our reeds change day to day. They change given our different acoustics, and having that flexibility to be able to ride that wave and maybe perhaps choose a different reed in your case that day is going to help you a lot to playing more beautifully. So the first tip I want to talk to you about is finding and sourcing a consistent way to choose your reeds. Making sure that you're asking the same thing of each reed. And this works if you're a reed maker or you're not a reed maker. And no judgment here, you know. I don't think that it's entirely necessary to learn the art of reed making in order to consider yourself an oboe player. In fact, after having made reeds for 25 years, if I had the option to no longer make reeds and just play the oboe, that's what I would do. In order to be a professional oboe player, yes, you do have to learn reed making. But if choosing the oboe is not something you want to do as part of your profession, then by goodness, purchase reeds. Absolutely. Adjust and purchase reeds. Sorry, I digress. So this consistent way of choosing a reed, having aspects that for you are for your playing that are absolutely non-negotiables, and that you're going to test each reed every time you are going to choose your reed. You're going to test your reed to do those things, because I'm going to tell you what a lot of oboe players do is they choose their reed based upon the sound that they like, because you know we all love the sound of the oboe, and we have a sound in our ear that we want to emulate. And oftentimes we'll choose a reed that sounds good, but cannot do the things that are necessary in the music that we're about to perform. So I hear this all the time, and I have fallen into this trap myself, that there's a reed in my case that has a beautiful sound, but I can't make a low attack, and it probably plays about 30 cents flat, which is not going to help me very much in my ensemble. So having some consistent non-negotiables in how you're choosing your reeds is really going to help you to improve your reeds, or improve your experience of your reeds, because you're going to have a clearer idea of what is not functioning and what is functioning in the particular reed that you're playing. The second thing I would encourage you to do, I know for myself as a reed maker that if I lose my discipline of practicing long tones, that my reeds get incrementally worse. Because what I'm asking of the reed, I'm not in shape enough in my embouchure and my breathing system. I'm not in shape enough to ask the correct things of the reeds as I'm sitting at my reed desk. Same thing goes if you are trying to choose reeds. If you do not have a consistent long tone practice of practicing dynamics and your intonation and your sound in your practicing for every time you come to the oboe, then you're going to perhaps make a different choice in your reed just because you are not in shape. You're not flexing the right muscles, as it were. So having some long tone practice in your regime is, for me, fundamentally, and I do it at least 12 minutes every day. I practice many hours. I'm performing a lot. And so the 12 minutes may not be something that's right for you, but having some part of your practicing, focusing on intonation, attacks, and being able to do dynamics in those long tones is going to make a really big difference in terms of improving your experience of your reeds, because you're going to be in shape enough to be flexible so that you can move around on your reed as necessary. The third tip I would like to give you today is, if you have something that your reeds aren't doing, if you're a reed maker and your reeds aren't doing whatever, fill in the blank. Are they not playing high notes? Are they not attacking low? Are they not doing multiple tonguing? What is it that your reed isn't doing? If you're not a reed maker, what is it that the reed that you're getting is not able to do? What is that aspect? Is it attacks? Is it that you can't do dynamics? What is it that you're unhappy with that reed? Now, this question, this third tip, is something for you when you're in your practice room. This is not something that you need to consider on stage. I think as you're choosing your reeds, I think this would be not a beneficial time to reflect on that. You need to focus at the music at hand. But if you're in your practice room and you're unhappy with how all of the reeds in your case are working, I would encourage you to practice that aspect. If it's multiple tonguing, start practice multiple tonguing, even on reeds that, quote, don't do it well. If it is you can't do a low attack, start practicing low attacks, because the tools you have in your case are your tools. And if you need to discover in yourself some flexibility somewhere in your embouchure, in how you're blowing, how you're using your body, how you're sitting, how you're set up with your oral cavity, all of these things, if you are practicing and trying to adjust and improve these things, that's going to go a long way. It's going to go a long way to creating the necessary skills in your playing to allow those skills to come out on the reed. As a reed maker myself, I very rarely have a perfect reed. Gosh, I wish I did. So what I have developed is flexibility in my playing, so that no matter what reed I have in my case, I can still sound like myself. And that helps me in many ways. It helps me with performance anxiety. It helps me play at my best. It helps me enjoy my music making. Being able to look at your reeds as a tool rather than a hindrance is a wonderful and much more joyful way to experience the oboe. If you would like more information about how to do that, how to find more joy and ease in your oboe playing, I'd like to invite you to an up-and-coming 5-day masterclass that I have in January. It's called the Oboe Mastery Workshop, and it's on January 8th through the 13th. And I'm going to put a link under the description of this live presentation where you can register for the event, and I'll send you all the information. I hope to connect with you there. If this is the extent of our interaction, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you're able to use these tips to make beautiful music in your community. Let's all become the oboe players that everyone wants to play with. The oboe players we were meant to be. Play the oboe with joy and ease. Take care.